Hello, Canada, and welcome on the Hangout. Canada's home for talking hoops. What a wild ride it was for the Toronto Raptors this year. This is a very special edition of the Hangout as we do a Raptors year retrospective, and we will welcome in our guests, of course. As always, on the far side of the couch is the Raptors broadcast producer, one of my good friends, Dan Gladman. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. What a year
Always,
it was.
man. The year was absolutely incredible. A dream season for the Raptors.
And one of the Hangout's top-level guests. He's made the top threes in the Hangout Hall of Fame. My main man, comedian Tricks. Thank you for coming out.
Oh, thanks, man.
And this young lady, of course, did a great front-page article in Now Magazine on DeMar DeRozan. Some people claim it was the tipping point for the season where things all changed. Julia LeConte of Now Magazine, thank you so much for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, let's get into it. Everyone knows what ended up happening. It came down to the final 6.2 seconds of the game for the Toronto Raptors. Game 7, Brooklyn Nets, Toronto Raptors. Let's just look at this. First piece of information I want to put out there, the Toronto Raptors drew up a final play on the wrong side of the court. I don't know whose fault that is here, but let's digest this play. Where does the blame fall? Does it fall on the refs? Does it fall on coaching staff? Was it the right shot? I'll start with you, Tricks, because I know you like the star fires. Were you happy with the final play?
Well, first of all, let's start off with the fact that why is Brooklyn jumping up and down like they won the championship? It's round one, man.
Hey, we put them to the test.
Yeah, true. I'm not mad at the play call because if you watch the game, if anybody, I'm going to assume that the play call was to draw a foul. Now, we only needed a basket, right?
Yes.
And clearly they didn't want a shot. So I'm assuming.
Clearly
no,
they
they didn't. So what they wanted to do was obviously put someone on the line and get 2 easy buckets, right? Now, am I happy with the smallest guy on the court driving with 3 guys around him? I would have liked him to kick it out to a DeRozan, and I would rather see a shot go up. I just didn't like to see it end like that, where it's like, you know, you're just hoping and
Okay,
stuff up.
before I let you guys chime in again, from my perspective, what I looked at, it was a high screen and roll. The play got drawn up in the huddle on the opposing side, but the ball was switched. So I think the spacing got a bit messed up. I think maybe Terrence was a bit out of position on his side of the court. But, I mean, I thought maybe it was a drive and kick potentially, or if Kyle got the shot off, it would have been Patrick Patterson for a dump down or a tip in. Dan, your thoughts?
Well, all those are possibilities, and in that situation, you really want the ball in the hands of your best player, and that's Kyle Lowry. Let's give a little bit of credit to the Nets defense on that play.
I don't want to give any credit to
Well, you have to. They guarded it brilliantly. Jason Kidd said in his post-game press conference he knew the ball was going to Lowry. His guys, as soon as Lowry had his hands on the ball, double-teamed him. You have 6.2 seconds, so Lowry doesn't have as much time to make a decision. I think Garnett kind of made a swipe at it. The ball went loose. Lowry got it back, put the shot up, and Pierce makes a great block shot. The Nets defended that one play very nicely.
Whatever. I want to put blame on somebody for this. So, Julia, I'll throw this at you. Are the refs to blame? Because, listen, does anyone remember that Deron Williams fouled out of this game? He fouled out of this game. And the refs changed the foul to KG, who made no contact with anyone. And then there was also the block charge blown one way on one end of the court, and then changed on the other end of the court. And then they give DeMar a technical for contesting the fact that they're not calling the game the same way on both ends. Julia, are the refs to blame?
The refs are not to blame. We can't blame the refs. No, definitely not. I think, you know, people have been trying to say that for this whole series. In this game in particular, some calls went against the Raptors, some calls went their way. At the end of the day, the Raptors didn't play very well for 2.5 quarters. You know what I mean? The middle of the entire game, they didn't play very well.
Okay,
so.
but I'm looking at a series that came down to one final possession, and I'm looking at one team that was the beneficiary of the majority of the calls.
But on the last possession, there was no foul. I mean, Kyle did the play.
The on-ball defender shouldn't have been in the game.
Let's be honest here. I know that everybody has these conspiracy theories of, you know what, the NBA doesn't want to see the Raptors against the Heat. They'd rather see Brooklyn for marketing.
I didn't say all that. I just said I thought
what
the
I'm
refs
saying
played
is
a role.
this. The refs are not to blame for DeMar DeRozan having 4 points in the first half.
No, that's
he's not to blame for JV not getting in the game. They're not to blame for Terrence Ross not having an effect in this. Like we could go on and on. At the end of the day, yes, the Raptors didn't get calls, and I'm just going to reiterate what she said. If you play well, you're more likely to get those calls. If you're not playing well all game, the refs aren't going to give you those calls. It's simple as that, and that's the way it's been in the NBA for years.
Yeah, we can't sit here and rue some calls that were made or weren't made. The Raptors weren't at their best in the first half. The Nets were, and as Jack Armstrong said on the broadcast, the Nets deserved to win that game. They played better for the majority of the game.
Okay, so back to the point you were making earlier. We've always talked a lot about certain Raptor fans saying maybe the refs are against them or there's conspiracy theory or whatever. Is the playing field level now for the Toronto Raptors? Have they earned the respect of, because we saw at some points in this series, they did get some calls that even the Nets thought were questionable. Have the Raptors put themselves on the map where refs now have a level playing field when the Raptors hit the court against a big name team? Julia?
I think they're almost there. Like, I think in Canada, we obviously think we did a lot this season, and we did. And in terms of, you know, basketball in our city, it's been amazing. But I think the Raptors are still probably not on a lot of people's radar south of the border, and that's going to take a couple more years of actual great play. Like, it's not just going to be one season where you get a 3 seed that the refs and the rest of the NBA is going to start noticing you.
Win some more games. You know, you made the playoffs. That's the first step. You won 3 out of the 7 games. You got 1 All-Star in DeMar DeRozan. Build on that for next season. Maybe win 50 next year. Maybe get out of the first round. As each season goes on now you have something to build on, and now is when you can start earning some real respect.
All right, well, we still have more to break down on Canada's home for Talking Hoops, The Hangout.